Up until I was about 6 years old, the only video games I knew existed were made by Nintendo. But one day when I was staying at my grandma's house, my uncle had something sitting under the TV, and I didn't know what this was. And upon further inspection, it was something called the PlayStation 2. The game sitting in the disk drive, Grand Theft Auto 3. Curiosity got the best of me, I booted it up, and what came next? That was something I could just never be prepared for.
Come on, let's introduce you to the Don.
If you do this for me, you will be a made man. Anything you want.
Put your hands in the air right now.
Experience has taught me that a man like you can be very loyal for the right price.
I've never seen anything like it, and honestly, that's when it hit me. Video games could be much, much more than what I had known them to be up until that point. Released in 2001 by Rockstar Games, Grand Theft Auto 3 didn't just raise the bar for open world games, it basically invented the modern sandbox formula. However, going back to it today is both incredible and kinda painful. When Grand Theft Auto 3 launched on the PlayStation 2, players had never really seen anything like it. A full 3D city, cars everywhere, NPCs walking around, radio stations blasting music while you commit atrocities at 90 miles per hour. This was pretty much chaos in the purest digital form. And sure, games had open areas before, like Driver for instance, but this was different. For the first time, this open world actually felt alive. It felt lived in. And you weren't stuck following one path. You could ignore missions entirely and just cause absolute mayhem if you wanted to. You could steal taxis, you could steal all kinds of cars. You want to drive into the ocean? Go ahead. Punch random civilians until the cops show up? Well, damn, that's what I thought the point of the game was as a little kid. They wanted you to feel like you can live in this city. And for 2001, that was mind-blowing. Liberty City itself deserves a lot of the credit here. It's dark, it's dirty, it constantly feels dangerous, but at the same time, it's such a fun sandbox. It's built up of 3 islands in the game: Portland, Staunton Island, and Shoreside Vale. Going out of your way and letting your imagination run wild in Liberty City is just as important as tackling its story missions. Like I said before, they made this city feel so alive and make you believe you're actually living in it. And by doing things like, being a taxi driver, a firefighter, a policeman, or having specific, ramps or not so specific ramps set up so you can try to land a stunt jump, seeing how the NPCs will crowd over another NPC that you just wasted, or how they'll steal another NPC's car right in front of your eyes. Like, NPCs in general were such a step above anything else up until that point that it really puts into perspective how ahead of its time Grand Theft Auto 3 was. The way they spoke to you if you walked too close to them, or how they conversated with each other. It was funny dialogue, but at the same time, I thought it was believable. And yeah, these are just some of the examples that, what Rockstar did to pull this off. And then you mix in a great soundtrack with great advertisements on the radio and just overall great sound direction. Man, you have one of the most ambitious games ever made when it comes to a big 3D open world. And, the open world itself with the foggy streets, the industrial areas, the mafia-controlled neighborhoods, it all gives the game this gritty crime movie atmosphere. And honestly, speaking of crime movies, let's get into it. You have some absolute heavyweights from the genre here to lend their voices to some of the characters that you're going to be meeting in the game. Just a handful of the ones that I thought were like my favorites. Frank Vincent as Salvatore Leone.
They must be making spank on that big boat that Curly led you to. So we gotta use our heads. Or rather, one head. Your head.
You got Michael Rappaport as Joey Leone.
Some respect. Lips Forelli is stuffing his fat face in the St. Mark's Bistro, so steal his car and take it to 8 Ball's bomb shop up in Harwood. You know 8 Ball, right?
You got Joe Pantoliano as Luigi Gaudarelli.
You want some action from his regular girl, Misty? Go pick her up at Hepburn Heights, but watch yourself. That's Diablo Turf.
You got Michael Madsen as Tony Cipriani.
Yes, Ma. I want you to destroy their laundry vans and mangle any triad gimp that gets in your way.
And you got Guru as 8 Ball, man. You know Guru.
Blow a kiss to the ladies in my corner, caress the mic and kick my game like I wanna.
Okay, now let's talk gameplay. By today's standards, Grand Theft Auto 3 isn't winning many awards, but back then, man, this stuff was groundbreaking. I'd argue driving still feels pretty fun and chaotic today, but I think combat and, you know, it feels stiff. Free aiming with firearms is kind of barely existent, and Claude, I think I'm gonna say Claude, he feels like he's got some concrete in his shoes, honestly. And then when it comes to missions, like in the game, they're gonna consist of shootouts, melee fights, escort missions, and honestly, the bane of my existence with any game, timed missions. So you kind of want these things to feel good, and I'd argue 50% of those feel good. So that's not great. Some mission designs can be frustrating as well because, like, there aren't any checkpoints or mission retries if you fail. Sometimes you'll fail a mission objective and, like, all of a sudden you need to drive back across town just to start the mission up again. And honestly, a lot of these missions wouldn't be such a pain in the ass if we had a map in the game, but you don't. All you get is a mini map in the corner with the markers telling you where to go. But if the marker, like for example, is in one island, let's just say Portland, but you're in Shoreside Vale, for example, like good luck finding the roads to get there, because like, and especially if the mission has a time limit. Oh my god, like that is some of the most brutal mission designs in the game. And look, I think the point of this was that back then when you bought a game, you got some cool extra shit in the case when you bought the game. It wasn't just the disc, you know, like today. You got like a manual, you might have got some goodies, and in GTA 3's case, and I think a lot of the PS2, maybe all of the PS2 Grand Theft Autos, you would get a map that also acted as a poster. And this wasn't an uncommon thing back then in general. Like, it would be like following a video game guide or a magazine back in the day. Like, it was normal to have something kind of accompany you while you got through the game. But yeah, by modern day standards, I'm saying, like, not having an in-game map, that's kind of unacceptable, and that really bogs down GTA 3 today. Later games and even later versions of GTA 3 would rectify this, but back then, man, some of these missions would absolutely break you because you had no idea where to go. And speaking of missions, some of these are just designed by the devil himself. The mission Bomb the Base is absolute horse crap. It involves you sniping cartel members off a cargo ship while 8 Ball infiltrates the ship to plant a bomb. But the dude is so impatient and just runs into the line of fire that you better off picked off those cartel guys before they see his ass. This mission took me forever as a kid. Even as an adult, dude, it took me way too long than I care to admit. Another one, Espresso to Go, given to you by Oscar. You have a strict 7-minute timer to hunt down and destroy 9 hidden coffee stalls spread across all 3 islands. And if you've been paying attention, I don't like time limits and there's no map. So you can... Look, let these 2 examples set the tone for a lot of the missions in Grand Theft Auto 3. If you're gonna play this game today, do yourself a favor, somehow have a map. Just open your phone, have a map, because today, things like this, it just wouldn't happen. It would be unacceptable. If a game had these kind of things in it today, it would be deemed a bad game. And, you know, when you look back at GTA 3 in this day and age, these are the kind of things that would bog it down.
I see nothing but good things for you, my boy. Anything you want.
So one thing that Grand Theft Auto 3 did differently was its silent protagonist, Claude. He never talks, not once. I don't know what he sounds like. Maybe that somehow makes him even more terrifying. I don't know. He's actually nameless in this game, but later on in San Andreas, they retcon that. But honestly, the supporting cast, like I said, it's so star-studded that it more than makes up for the lack of Claude talking. But the story starts off with you're Claude, and you're being betrayed and shot by your girlfriend Catalina, voiced by Cynthia Farrell, by the way, during a bank heist in Liberty City. You get arrested, and during your transportation to jail, members of the Colombian cartel ambush the van you're in. It takes them prisoner with them, and then that kind of leaves Claude and 8-Ball pretty much open for escape. So they get in a stolen car and they dip. And then at that point, that's how you get your first safe house and your first garage. And then 8-Ball later will introduce you to the Leone Mafia crime family, which consists of Luigi, as he's the first guy that gives you a mission in the game. And then eventually, as you keep doing missions for the mob, Claude starts getting the respect of Don Salvatore Leone. After some missions, the Don will eventually learn that the cartel are creating a new drug called Spank, and they're selling it on the street, and it's to fund their expansion into Liberty City. And Salvatore doesn't like that, so he tells you to go destroy their floating drug lab with the help of 8-Ball, and that is the mission I was talking about that was such a pain in the ass before. And then in the first twist of the game, Salvatore instructs Claude to dispose of a car, but his wife Maria, who is played by Debbie Mazar, who has taken a liking to Claude at this point, she tells Claude that this is a setup, and she claims that she told Salvatore about them to make him jealous because she's insane, and that led Salvatore to rig the car with explosives, and he was trying to kill Claude. So that is pure mafia stuff 101. I love that. So at that point, he escapes to Staunton Island to disappear with Maria, and that's where you meet Asuka, voiced by Liana Pai. She is the co-leader of the Yakuza. So if you kind of have been following the mission structure of the first two games, where you kind of, like in the first one, you work for a guy, and then eventually you gotta, like, you know, leave the city, so then you end up in another city, then you meet another guy, you work for him long enough, then you leave the city. And then in GTA 2 kind of did something similar. This is just kind of the same thing. Like, you were working for the mob tried to kill you. Now you're in the second area of the game where you're going to meet the Yakuza, and you're going to do some things for the Yakuza, which does consist of killing Salvatore Leone himself, and that'll cut your ties to the Mafia. But yeah, you're going to be working for the Yakuza for a little bit. But you're also going to be meeting someone named Ray Machowski, voiced by Robert Loggia, who you eventually help flee the city, and he leaves behind a little something for you. And then you're also going to be a very questionable human being, Donald Love, voiced by Kyle MacLachlan, who is kind of loosely based on another questionable human being named Donald. And yeah, he has a connection to the convict that the Colombian cartel took when they invaded your prison transport in the beginning of the game. So Donald Love hires you to kill Asuka's brother Kenji, voiced by Les J.N. Mao, who Kenji is the leader of the Yakuza, but he does not like you. He never liked you, even though you're friends with his sister. But Claude and Kenji never got along too well. So Love hires you to go and kill this guy, but you have to do it in a cartel truck to kind of start a gang war between the Colombian cartel and the Yakuza, and that allows Love to obtain construction sites for his businesses. So during this, you encounter Catalina again, who is your, I guess, ex-girlfriend now, and she's actually the leader of the cartel at that said construction site. She escapes, though. She betrays and shoots her partner Miguel, who was also in the beginning of that bank heist in the game, voiced by Al Espinoza. And it's just kind of same old. Like, you just can't trust this woman. What? You're stupid? You think she wouldn't do it to you, Miguel? Come on. So after this, you do learn that Asuka suspects the cartel for her brother's death, and she seizes the construction site, and she's gonna be chilling there for a bit. And it's just funny because, like, yeah, you know, you did that. And for the first time, I kind of felt bad. I was like, oh shit, you know. But we're gonna get away with this squeaky clean, it seems like. But yeah, now Miguel is captured by the Yakuza, and they're kind of torturing him, and they just want information on pretty much what the cartel's doing in the city. And that kind of allows you to go and strike them after. But yeah, Catalina, though, does come back. She murders Asuka and Miguel, but kidnaps Maria, who is still chilling around because she is friends with Asuka. That's obviously how you met Asuka. And she's demanding $500,000 for her release. So at this point, you go back. You have more assignments from Donald Love. Claude finds his penthouse empty, however. Love and the guy that they took in the beginning, the cartel took, he had him back, and they're both gone now. So I hope they're happy together. But they leave behind an empty box. And that's it. So at this point, you are getting ready. You're in the final stretch of the game. This is the final mission, and this is just another one that took me quite a few attempts. But yeah, you do go and meet with Catalina to pay the ransom. Obviously, she's not going to hold up her end of the bargain if you've been paying attention. So yeah, you get deceived again. She traps you unarmed. You got nothing on you. You are just in this stronghold that the cartel have going on, and you're stuck. So you got to make your way out. You escape. You eventually rescue Maria, and then this all leads to a crazy, shootout. But then you also get the rocket launcher, and you got to shoot down the helicopter that Catalina is trying to flee in, and that's how you kill Catalina. That is the end of Catalina. So after that, you just see Claude and Maria leaving the scene. Maria just kind of begins to complain about the kidnapping and, talking about her hair and how she looks and blah, blah, blah. The credits start rolling. And this just kind of happens out of nowhere, but there's a gunshot and you don't hear her anymore. And, obviously, I think Claude killed her, but I always wondered, did he kill her because she was annoying or because she kind of gave him up to the mob before in the beginning? And, that's kind of what caused all this bullshit to happen to him. I guess we'll never know. But yeah, I think it's pretty clear that Maria dies at the end, at your hand, by the way.
I broke a nail and my hair is ruined. I mean, can you believe it? This one cost me $50.
So yeah, look, in terms of a story, this was something that you could easily see in a Hollywood movie. And in that way, I wouldn't say that this is original or anything groundbreaking, but think about it, man. At the time, video games weren't known for elaborate storytelling like this. It was few and far between. And then when GTA 3 comes out, it's it does have a very decent story, but it also has accompanying very decent gameplay. And I think that's what kind of makes GTA 3 special. Does it have its flaws? Absolutely. But I think if you look at it through the 2001 lens, there is a level of appreciation here that no other game was really getting. One thing Rockstar absolutely nailed, however, was the atmosphere, like I said before. And the radio stations in this game are absolutely legendary, man. You got Head Radio making its return from GTA 2 that pretty much delivers your soft rock and pop rock. Double Clef FM, which is the classical opera music, and you hear this a lot in the mob cars and stuff, and I thought it was a really nice touch. K-Ja, which is your reggae and dub. You got Rise FM with your house and electronic dance music. Lips 106, which is a top 40, pop music list. Game FM, which is underground hip hop and rap, which is pretty much what I bumped most of the time. MSX FM, you got your drum and bass music right there. Flashback 95.6, which is a 1980s synth pop and disco station, which was probably the second most bumped radio station in my playthrough. And then you got Chatterbox FM, the talk radio station hosted by Laszlo, who Laszlo will go on to be the only reoccurring character across every GTA game up until a certain point. Laszlo's just damn legendary.
79, hello, you're on Chatterbox.
Hello, is that Laszlo?
Yes?
Oh, wow, I'm on the radio. How exciting. Oh, thank you, Laszlo. Is this on the radio? I mean, am I actually on the radio for a second?
Yes, you are. I'm sure it's very exciting for you, but what do you want to talk about?
Here's a fun Mandela effect that you can try on your friends. What Grand Theft Auto game features the Scarface soundtrack? I bet most people listening to this is going to say or just to think of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And rightfully so, because if you look at Vice City and Scarface, there is a lot of, similarities. However, no, it's in GTA 3. It's right here. It's on Flashback FM. The whole Scarface, at least the most notable songs, I'd say, they are on Flashback FM. And I don't know, I think Rockstar just really jumped the gun. Maybe they didn't think they'd make another game after this, and they really needed that soundtrack. But man, part of me really wishes they waited a game and just had the soundtrack in Vice City. It would have made much more sense. But yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. But anyways, cruising through Liberty City at night, man, while like random early 2000s music blasts in your ears, it hits different, dude. And the sound design of this game kind of sells you the entire world. Whether it's like police sirens or car crashes and explosions and pedestrians yelling at you for driving on the sidewalk, nearly killing them for the 11th time that day. It all creates this very immersive kind of crime simulator vibe that honestly, like, it just felt years ahead of its time. Like, again, GTA 3 is revolutionary despite all of its flaws. Like, let's not get it twisted. It holds up today somewhat. There's like a big asterisk, but you just have to kind of respect it for what it accomplished in 2001. This game changed the industry. Like, without GTA 3, we probably don't get games like Watch Dogs or Saints Row or even modern open world games as we know it. Like, if you're playing this for the first time today, you're gonna notice the age. Like, controls are rough. The combat itself already feels really outdated. And honestly, some of these damn missions feel designed by actual fucking supervillains. Like, insane what they want you to do in this game sometimes. But underneath all of that, there is still a groundbreaking experience here that I think you can appreciate if you just try to live in 2001. Try to live in a time where, you know, games were mostly, you know, side scrollers going from left to right, and we are just a couple years in at this point to 3D gaming. You know, Super Mario 64 came out 2 or 3 years before this game did, and maybe even 4 years, but still, that was the first successful attempt at bringing 2D to 3D in a pretty flawless way. But a lot of games failed. Like, most games failed. A lot of games didn't really feel like those N64, you know, platformers like Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, for example, like, or Ocarina of Time if you want to count that. I'm not just trying to name platformers specifically, but you know, a lot of games had trouble going into 3D, and a lot of companies were trying to develop 3D games for the first time, and they were all just rough around the edges. So when GTA 3 comes along and just kind of executes it the way it does, there's just a level of appreciation you have to have for the game. It's just, there's nothing else like it. And the fact that open world games still kind of, you know, have a feeling of GTA 3 in them because the DNA is always going to be there, like, that speaks for itself, man. I don't need to say anything else. Like, you have to respect the game just because of that, because without this game, you don't have your crazy open world games you have today. Now they're a given. Now they're a dime a dozen. But back then, man, it was a treat, and this game is the reason why. So, look, Grand Theft Auto 3, it might not be the best Grand Theft Auto game, but it still might be the most important. It walked, right? It walked so every modern open world game could run and drive and run people over with a, you know, a stolen taxi or whatever. But whatever, man, it's the truth. That is the truth. If you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know down below what Grand Theft Auto game is your favorite. Let me know what it was like when you first played GTA 3, what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you steal your older brother's copy or something to play it because your mom wouldn't let you? Let me know. And remember, drive safely. Never mind, this is Grand Theft Auto.